Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for NBC6 Voices on our Facebook and YouTube pages. I'm Jawan Strader. Well, Haiti has experienced two tragedies in a short period of time. The assassination of President Jovenel Moise turned the already struggling government upside down. And now they've been shaken by a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. The quake struck the western part of the country about 8 miles west of the capital, Port-au-Prince, and was felt as far away as Jamaica, which is 200 miles away from the country. So it gives you an idea of just how strong and powerful that earthquake was. And that quake claimed the lives of over 2,000 with hundreds still missing. And throughout the show, we will list resources on how you can help Haiti. There are a lot of them out there, but you got to know which ones to trust as well. So here with me today is James Pierre. James is a Haitian-American journalist. You've seen him on the show before, but he does have a pulse on what's happening there in Haiti on the ground. And James, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Joanne. It's always a pleasure to be here with you.
Very good. So James, let's get right to it. Tell me about what you found out as far as what is going on with relief efforts there on the ground in Haiti.
Well, very disturbing. We know that now most of the relief efforts are coming from Haitian Americans, Haitian living here in the United States and abroad in Cuba, in Dominican Republic, and other places like Chile as well, trying to bring help as much as they can in Haiti. The government right now, the transitional government, should we mention, is now doing more meetings in the capital, but not really in the southwestern part of Haiti, where we have several cities being impacted by the earthquake. Many people, they still believe that they have all the family members under collapsed buildings, but right now it's more Haitian Americans coming forward to help Haiti as much as they can.
Okay, so apparently we're having an issue with your camera, James, because it's in black right now. So we're going to continue to work on that. We can hear your voice very well, so we're going to show some video as we try to work over that with you, James. I don't know what's going on with that. So, but can you still hear us, James?
Not sure, but I can see you. I can hear you well.
Okay, great. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, because there's apparently been an issue with the gangs there in Haiti intercepting or stealing some of the relief supplies, getting to those who need it most, especially in those small areas that are impacted. But I understand that there is a truce right now between the gangs, so help can arrive to those in need. Is that true?
That is correct. The principal road from Port-au-Prince to the southwestern part of Haiti, called Martissa, was really controlled for months by gang members, and they were not willing to compromise at any level, either with the former president Jovenel Moise, now the current government as well, with the prime minister. But after the earthquake, members of the government spoke with some gang members, and they found a compromise. Now people were able to use Martissan as the main road to Lecrae, Jérémy, and Campirin as well, to bring the relief effort. But that doesn't stop other gang members, because remember that we have several gang members in Haiti. In one corner you have one, and another corner you have another one. So some of the trucks were being stopped by gang members and saying, no, we need to be in control of the relief efforts. We want to make sure that our people receive aid first before other people further on the southern side of Haiti.
And James, I want to know, as far as the feeling there in Haiti because of this earthquake, it's like Haiti can't catch a break. It's like, what more can a country go through? And then first you're dealing with the assassination of your president, Jovenel Moise. We had you on the show recently talking about that. Then a short time later, then you have the earthquake with thousands of people either missing or dead. So what's the feeling to those on the ground? Have you been able to get a sense of how they're feeling and what they're going through?
I think you did a well description of Haiti right now. It's like every single month there is something to bring us, unfortunately, on the news. If it's not a massacre that happened in June, then it's the assassination of the president in July. Then now in August, we're talking about not only the earthquake, but also Grace, Tropical Storm Grace, that also
Yes.
brings some very disturbing moments for people of Haiti. Children under tents crying for food. It's very distressing, and it's also a call for all Haitians, whether if you are in Haiti or outside of Haiti, to join forces to change that. And I think when it comes to earthquake, is we have to rebuild Haiti in a different way, because there was always going to be earthquake. There's always going to be tropical storm, unfortunately, but it's how we build the houses. Do we have any proper shelters in Haiti? Do we have a plan when we have a tropical storm or an earthquake? What is it we have to do? Otherwise, we will still be in the same position, if not worse.
Very good point. And let's go back to that. What you kind of touched on it, because again, going back to the earthquake back in 2010, a devastating earthquake. So I want to know, as far as rebuilding from that, and then of course, then you have the tropical storms, the hurricanes, and everything else. So what do you think is needed there in Haiti as far as restructuring is concerned?
It looks like that recent earthquake trying to let us know, have we learned anything from 2010? And we can tell you clearly that based on the way the government is moving right now on the ground, based on the way the relief efforts is going, you can clearly tell that we have not learned the lesson from 2010. Many people are still suffering. Many people are still under tents or living right here on the streets without shelters, without food. What have we done from the past 8, 10 years for us not to learn from what is going on right now? Haiti is in need of so many things right now. First is the relief effort. They need food. They need clean drinking water on the ground. But most importantly, what is needed is a campaign of educational campaign to let the people on the ground know this is the way we're supposed to behave when there is an earthquake. This is the way we're supposed to behave if we have a tropical storm. These are the proper procedures we need to follow. And why not having here in this country, we have food bank at different location, right? Why don't we have food banks in Haiti if something happened where we can be there at, maybe minutes or hours after natural disaster like that? I think we need to learn from that, and we need to also make sure that we work together to have a better Haiti. Haiti is a very beautiful country, but unfortunately, leadership is missing.
And James, do you believe that the U.S. is doing enough to help Haiti right now?
Well, remember that when we talk about the USA, when we talk about Mexico, when you talk about Cuba, Dominican Republic, Canada, for example, you're talking about diplomacy. They are coming in to help you, but they cannot do everything for you. Haiti will be saved by Haitians. That is clear. They will come. United States just make a donation of $2 million to Haiti after the earthquake, but we know that money will go through different channels before they reach on the ground. But I'm very pleased by the way I see Haitian Americans are really helping Haiti. They are taking taking it on their own hands to make sure that they help Haiti. We have different stars. They go on the ground, collecting supplies, medical kits, and food, clean drinking water to take that to Haiti to help our country, because I think we speak the language, we know the culture, and we know what is needed. Otherwise, we can always hope that the international community will be there for you, but we have to do the work.
Very well said, James. James Pierre, as always, little brother, I really appreciate you and your insight. And of course, we wish your homeland nothing but the best, brother.
Thank you so much. And thank you as well to the whole team. I know Haiti is dear to your heart, and you are always covering great story about Haiti. Thank you.
All right, you got it, James. Now, I want to bring in Miami Gardens Councilwoman Linda Julian. And Linda, she serves as the city's first Haitian American council member, along with Haitian recording artist Florence Duray, who is also on the current cast of Love and Hip Hop. And as you said, Florence, a lot of people know you by your artist name, and that's Florence El Luce, correct?
Luce, yes, that is correct.
All right. All right. Well, first of all, I want to welcome the both of you to the show. Of course, this is a topic that's dear to both of you and your hearts. And I just want to know, when you first heard about the earthquake, the both of you, Councilwoman, when you heard about the earthquake, what went through your mind when you heard about it and when you started to hear about just how devastating it was?
Sure. Well, Jawan, first of all, I want to say thank you very much for having me on the show this evening. When I first heard about the earthquake, I thought to myself, oh no, not again. And as the footages started to come in and as the news started to pour in, the first thing that I did was check on my loved ones up in Haiti. And I said to myself, man, the president was just assassinated, and now Haiti has just suffered another earthquake. We just can't take any more.
And Florence, what about you? Your thoughts on when you heard about the devastation with the earthquake in Haiti?
Well, good evening, everyone. Again, thank you so much for having me. When I heard about this devastating news, same as the councilwoman, what what is going on? Again, another earthquake. What are we gonna do? Although I do not have any family members on the south side, but then I have all my other brothers and sisters that are over there. What is going on? What's happening to them? And it was devastating.
And so both of you wanted to go ahead and get started with action because of course we've seen this before though. We saw what happened with 2010 and then there was this big old relief effort drive, everything else. Some of the money didn't get to where it was supposed to go. So you guys decided, hey, we're gonna get to work. Councilwoman, what is it that you decided to do?
And so I took a step back as the news started to pour in and as aid started to go out to Haiti. And I took a step back and actually took it a step further to vet various organizations. And as I kept my eye on various organizations and did my research, I decided to help with the best way that I could with the resources that I have. And so what I've done is I have made financial contributions to various organizations on the ground. And my office has partnered up with the Global Empowerment Mission in helping them to assemble relief packages to send over to Haiti. And so to date, I will tell you, we have as of yesterday, we've sent over 40 pallets of relief packages over to the hardest hit areas in Haiti, such as the Lacaille area and the Jérémie area. And so right now for us, it's all hands on deck.
Amen. And Florence, you and your husband have been working to send aid over to Haiti for years. What are you doing differently and what are you doing now?
Well, this time I actually came up with a plan with my team where I raised money for the relief. My friend and I, we raised money to provide assistance to those impacted. We sent over 700 kits that includes hygiene products such as feminine products, soap, toothpaste, toothbrush, and more. And we also made family meal kit that has rice, beans, spaghetti, oil, tomato paste, alongside with 500 cases of water. And my husband personally traveled to Haiti to distribute these products to bring some relief to my Haitian brothers and sisters. So he was actually down there himself distributing all those kits. And we are now collecting donation at our business, La Fouchette Restaurant. We are located in Miami, Florida. We're collecting, and I'm also partnering up with the Salvation Army to see what more can I get so we can ship out pallets so we can go back over there and assist. But my husband was there last week. He was at Lazille. He was at Akin, the most affected areas. And we, like I said, those kits were able to provide over 30,000 people food that are in needs. And we bought medical stuff, but everything was sent by plane. So we couldn't take much. But right now we're accepting donations so we can get more stuff so we can ship out.
And Florence, what's the biggest need that you're hearing? What has your husband told you about what he's seeing on the ground there?
The people doesn't have a place to stay. They need tents. They need help with building homes. They need food. They need water, clean drinking water. They need medical assistance. I believe I sent a footage of when my husband was down there. There's a little boy whose legs, I think, I don't know what's wrong exactly with the legs, but he needs assistance. He needs medical help. We need more doctors to be down there to help.
And Joanna,
Councilwoman, you're shaking your head. You're shaking your head.
Yes, because I can
what are
relate
you
to
hearing?
Florence. I can relate to Florence, and I'm going to add to that. And when you talk about the need, oftentimes folks think, sending food and sending clothes is what's going to help. But I will tell you, what we have sent over to Haiti are air mattresses, tents, sheets, medical relief kits for folks who have diabetes, crutches, those items that are not readily available on the island that they are in desperate need of. And we took it a step further. What we are doing is, instead of sending food over, what we are doing is we are purchasing food on the island. So we're purchasing the beans and the rice and the corn and the fruits from the farmers there, so that we can help stimulate the economy in Haiti.
Amen. Amen. So this is what folks need to think about when they want to think about giving, and also think about giving to reputable organizations as well. Councilwoman, because like you said, you did your research and you wanted to make sure, as you said, we have it right here on the screen for folks. If you are watching at home, you want to know about one of those organizations to give, this is it right here, globalempowermentmission.org. And then Florence, I want you to, again, tell folks, where can they give? Where can they give if they want to help you, you and your husband who's been there, to give?
Yes, we are collecting all types of donation at La Fouchette Restaurant. If you are in the Miami area, we are located at 8267 North Miami Avenue, Miami, Florida, 33150.
It's okay. I can't remember my zip code sometimes. It's all good.
I have so many zip codes.
I know, right? No
Yeah.
doubt. Well, listen, I want to thank the both of you for all you're doing for Haiti, for your home country. And my heart goes out to you, as well as so many who have been impacted. But it's important that we give back and we do what we can, because we can do that here. We can give back.
Yes.
We could do something. There's something we can do.
And
so
we
I
could
really
definitely put together to do more.
Indeed. Florence, I'd love to connect with you after the show so that we can see how we can collaborate, because right now it's about coalition building. We're all in this together. And Joanne, I want to thank you, because you've always been a supporter of Haiti and a supporter of the Haitian community. And so I want to thank you wholeheartedly, because you've been so good to us.
Councilwoman, I really appreciate that. And I want to help out. So I want to do what I can as well. And you mentioned the tents. And so I don't, that the mattresses. So I don't know if we have some sort of mattress tent drive. I don't know. But I say, like you said, we build a coalition. We try to figure out a way of making that happen. So whatever I can do to help, I'm here for you, as always.
Thank you very much for that. We are doing a drive at the City Hall. I will have a location soon where folks can drop off air mattresses and tents and all those other items. And so we will definitely keep you posted.
Please do. And I will be there. And I will definitely try to get the word out as well. So I will be there with a few tents. Whatever I have to do to get these tents, I'm going to be there. So we can get them. We can get them to the people that need them most. So thank you so much. You guys can hang on after this. I'm going to now join in with one of my colleagues, and that's Willard Shepard. Willard was one of the first television journalists that happened to travel to Haiti on the ground. He joins us now here from the comforts of his own home. Willard, thank you for joining me, my brother. I know you're busy, man. You're working today, but I wanted to ask you just real fast about your experience going there to Haiti. You were covering the rescue efforts and recovery efforts that were happening there. Tell me about what you saw and what stood out most to you.
Well, first of all, I want to follow up on what Florence and Councilwoman Julian just said, and especially what Florence was saying about her husband physically going and handing these materials to the people who need it the most. Because of, unfortunately, what happened, and this has to do a lot with what the aid organizations told us, and also from the operation at United States Southern Command, who has doing all they can. But a lot of the aid workers said to us, the assassination of the president has really had an impact on this, because the government is not running at full speed. So therefore, they're having a lot of logistical issues in terms of getting this relief to where it needs to go. So I was delighted to hear Florence say her husband had it with him, went right there. And that's something I want to emphasize to people about being able to get there if they're able to go and able to get out there. As to our experiences, I was flying with the Coast Guard there and going into areas that nobody had been to at all, zero. You've seen some of this destruction that we've been showing down in Lakai and in those areas, which is devastating. But these people out here in this video we're showing now, basically in the mountains, not far from Jeremy, south of there, whose homes on a normal day, you would go to their property and see a grass floor, plywood, a tin roof. You can only imagine what the devastation is to that with a hurricane, to something of that little infrastructure. So when you all were talking about a place for people to sleep, number one, huge, gigantic, people sleeping out basically in the open, and had not received any help, any relief whatsoever at all until the Coast Guard got there. These were primarily medical evacuations, taking away people who had been really hurt, wounded, and had received little, if any, medical care whatsoever at all. And the helicopters were landing in what would be like a soccer field, a schoolyard that were out there. And at that moment, as soon as the helicopter would land, everyone from that area would come to that location. They were bringing people to the helicopter any way they could get them there. If they had a vehicle, they brought them that way. Those that could walk, if they had upper body injuries, they walked to the helicopter. So that was the first type of effort that was going to get into any of those communities. Food, other supplies, that was going to come next. But this initial operation, Jawan, run by the Coast Guard and Southern Command, was to get people who had been severely injured. I saw a lot of orthopedic injuries, as you can imagine, and something that'll always be with me. In the helicopter, I was in the helicopter, with them while this was going on. And if there was space for us to get back in, because, the priority was them, we were going back with them. And just the despair on their faces. There's a photograph I took and we had on our newscast of one of the women who appeared to be a grandmother holding
the hand,
crew chief of the helicopter, Miss Brewer.
Yes.
And Joanna, made me think. I'd always say, we are so much alike as people. Miss Brewer is from Alabama. She went to the Coast Guard when she graduated high school. And little did you think that she would be the guardian angel of a Haitian woman that didn't speak her language, none of that. But at that moment, man, we're all the same. And it was great to see that being done.
Yes, we are, my brother, man. I'm so glad that you went. I wanted to go. I always want to go to Haiti, but I'm so glad that you went. And of course, you gave us expertise reporting from being there on the ground because of the need there, and trying to let people know what is happening there in some of the hardest hit areas and areas that people can't get to. So my last question to you: what you heard from the councilwoman and you heard from Florence, from what you saw. We talked about the big need there. We talked about not only food and water, but we talked about doctors. We talked about tents and mattresses. What did you see, Willard, as far as one of the biggest needs that you see is needed there?
Okay, well, as we just said, the first thing is housing, just so that the people are not out in the open, sleeping under the sky on a good night. And one of the nights, due to the tropical storm, it rained 10 inches, up on them. So that's first. The next thing is, in terms of people who've been hurt, they're running out of their medical supplies. One of the ambulance people who runs a company there that was taking people off the helicopters and getting them to the ambulances in Port-au-Prince, he told me, he said, look, the hospitals are basically full here now. We need to send forward all types of medical supplies, splints, back braces, bandages, everything like that forward, so that people can be treated closer to where their homes actually are. After that, then comes, the other necessary things in terms of food supplies, clothing, all of those kinds of things. I was delighted to hear the councilwoman say they're trying to use the infrastructure within Haiti, from farmers and other people, distributors, to be able to do that. When I came back just a couple of days ago, the humanitarian aid organizations are getting there more in force, and so is the United States military, Chilean Air Force, other people from the Organization of American States that are getting there now. So it gets better every day, but clearly, this is going to go on for a significant time period, And one of the aid workers said, hey, look, man, I'm really worried after this initial rush that people are going to forget. And that's our job and our duty, Juwan, to make sure that people don't forget. And I know you won't.
Oh, I sure won't. I know you won't, Willard. And brother, I really appreciate you joining the show tonight. Thank you so much. I know you're busy, but thank you so much for sharing your perspective and your insight. I really appreciate you.
All right, Juwan, thanks for having me. Love being on Voices.
We love having you. Well, everyone, I want to thank all of our guests for joining me tonight. That's our show for tonight. And you can rewatch this episode on our Facebook and YouTube pages and on air this Saturday at 9:30 a.m. And be sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm at Jawan NBC6. And you can also message us on social media if you have a story idea. Before we go, remember, education is the key to success. If you believe, you will succeed. We'll see you next time. Have a great week.